Ace is one of the best hardbreachers as of right now, so that's why today we're taking an in-depth look as of why Ace is so strong. I'll give you a full guide to Ace and how to play him best. I'll also share some of the 300 IQ tricks with this operator. First, we'll talk about his loadout, and oh boy, it's a really good one. As a main gun, Ace has the AK-12, which is one of the strongest guns in the game. It does a 45 damage per bullet, and it has 30 bullets in the magazine. This gun is playable with all 1x scopes and a 2x scope, vertical grip and angle grip. Personally, I prefer the vertical grip because I feel like the weapon can have a kick in recoil sometimes. I use the flash hider to counter vertical recoil. You can also play the M1014 shotgun. This gun is used when you want to play aggressive with Ace. As a secondary, Ace has the P9 pistol. He can either bring breach charges or 2 claymores. And now onto his heart-breaching gadget, the Selma. This is a gadget that opens up in 2 rectangles on a reinforced wall. Ace has 3 of these. It does 10 damage to an enemy standing close, and you can also use it on a deployable shield to get rid of it. We'll get to my favorite tips and tricks later on, but first we'll discuss the do's and don'ts and operator combinations. And first, the attack combinations. Ace works really well together with breach denial operators. Think about operators such as Thatcher with his EMP grenade, Twitch with her shock drone, Kali with her lens, Zero with his Argus launcher, but also any operator with nades, since there's a lot of opportunities to either nade the breach from a window or even underneath to get rid of breach denial. Maverick can also get rid of any mute jammers, bandit batteries, or arcade electroclaws. Also works really well too with Ace. You can use her Talon shield next to a breach. If you use the Selma on the shield, it'll destroy the Talon shield, but also a part of the wall. If you do this with a K, the wall will turn soft. Any soft breach or DMR will work to open up the hole. A breaching charge doesn't work because the opening is too small. And not necessarily related to Ace, but you know what's also a good combination? Yeah. Q and click in the YouTube sub button. If you've come this far in the video, you might be liking the content. Subbing out helps a lot towards the goal of 10k YouTube subscribers. Apologies for the brief interruption. Let's quickly continue with the good defensive counters for Ace. This would be any operator that brings breach denial, such as mute, bandit, or Cade. With a mute jammer, you can still open up all the way to the top or the side of the wall due to how the mute jammer works vertical. Also operators that catch projectiles, since Ace's Selma needs to be thrown. So a Jaeger or a Vamai works well against Ace. A Zami works well since you can either patch up a hole that was made by Ace or you can use it to burn Ace's utility. For example, when Ace needs to use one of his Selmas to get rid of the Kiba barrier. A Rooney could use a Syria gate for Ace to throw in his Selmas. And a really good counter to Ace is Thorn. A good example is in the Organ Closet. If you try to Ace breach this, but then walk in after, the Thorn Razor Bloom shell will be activated and it'll destroy the Selma. Any operator that brings impact grenades can work well to destroy the second rectangle after Ace's Selma has opened up for the first part. Toss it into the breach on the side and it'll destroy the second part of the Selma. This means an attacker can no longer walk into that breach because it'll be too small. So how not to counter Ace's Selma? Mira's windows will now get destroyed by Ace Selma, so they're not the best way of countering Ace's Selmas anymore. With an Ace Selma, you also cannot destroy Maestro's Evil Eye, Goyo's Vulcan Canister, and Melusi's Banshee. This means that all 3 mentioned gadgets will stay up if Ace tosses his Selma against them. What is the best way to use Ace for? Well, I made a top 3 list of the best ways to use the Selma gadget. On number 1, we have walls, because this is probably his main purpose. You can open up the breach with a Selma, but on number 2, we have shields. I'd say this is more used whenever there's a second hurt breach in the team that can take care of the walls. You can use your Selma to destroy a deployable shield. And on the bottom of the list, at number 3, we'll have hatches. I would say Ace is arguably the worst operator to open up hatches or to bring for downstairs objectives, because you will need 2 Selmas to open up any hatch, which costs you a lot of utility seeing that Ace only has 3 of those Selmas. You can, however, use a Selma next to a hatch that has an Electroclaw on it. This will open up the hatch and possibly destroy the Electroclaw as well. And now on to my favorite tips and tricks with Ace. As of right now, it seems that it doesn't matter which Selma you toss first, the bottom or the top one. I tried this countless amounts of times, but my Selmas don't destroy each other anymore. Make sure you toss them high enough though, because otherwise you cannot walk or crouch through the breach. And if you've seen me play Ace before, you may wonder why I sometimes shoot my gadget. I can hear you think, why would you shoot the second part of the Selma that's literally destroying your own utility? Yes, but there's there's a good reason as to why you'd want to do this. On certain walls, you can choose to only open up the first canister, so you create a head height peak angle for yourself. Due to the bottom part of the Selma not opening up on the wall, you'll be more protected when you go for a peek. Yes, your head is still visible, but your body isn't fully visible, meaning you could crouch behind the wall to hide, and your body will be a smaller target for the enemy. If you're ever stuck in a solo queue game where your teammates aren't helping you to clear the breach denial, you can always use Ace's Selma to get rid of any bandit batteries from underneath the breach. Toss it on the ceiling around the inside of the breach and the bandit battery will be destroyed. This will also create a peeking hole to get rid of the electrical lock. And this is a very smart trick with Ace if you still have one of his Selmas left. This could be used whenever you go for a plant. Right before you plant the diffuser, toss the Selmas on a destroyable object, for example a wall or a hatch. The sound of the Selma opening and detonating will be quite loud. This causes the enemies to be distracted and caught off guard because they think the sound is coming from elsewhere. You can also use this to cover the sound of when you're trying to plant the diffuser. We tested this out and we have a short sound clip to let you know what it sounds like.
Bomb diffuser in place.
And my final favorite tip is for those who play aggressive when they play support. Sometimes when I'm trying to breach the wall, the enemy will peek and shoot the Selma. You could try to breach the wall again, but then whenever the enemy peeks again to shoot the Selma, you can jump in and try to kill them. The enemy will either be distracted because they were shooting the Selma, or if their aim isn't the greatest, they might have already used all their bullets and might be in the middle of a reload. Ain't no way they're gonna be able to shoot back at you. I also have some favorite Ace spots that I'd like to share with you. The first one being in the Oregon closet upstairs. I use one of the Selmas to open up the actual breach on the right side where players can walk into. Then on the left, I make a head height hole. I shoot at the second part of the Selma because if I stand on the coat hanger, I'll be standing just a little bit higher than where the enemies expect me to be. From there, you can hold any player rotating through attic. However, on this spot, you'll have to be careful for players swinging the breach or C4s from underneath. On Clubhouse, there's a really smart trick for the CCTV breach and to easily clear rafters as well. I use the first Selma to open up the CCTV breach. Then usually, onto rafters, you'll find one wall reinforced and one wall with a line of sight or a rotate. I use my Selma to open up that reinforcement. Let the Selma open up the wall fully. This opens up a peek hole towards rafters. Any player that is playing rafters will be fully exposed. And this makes rafters a really unsafe space to play. This could help your team to clear garage and rafters. And the good thing is, the defenders can't easily shoot this Selma, because if you're playing from cache, there will be a bomb blocking their vision towards that rafters wall. On cafe, I usually use a Selma to open up small bakery or wedding, whichever term you prefer. So I push away any defender that is lurking behind the muffin counter in bakery. Preferably, you'd let the Selma open up entirely, so players can't go prone behind that muffin counter. Then, as a second Selma, I toss it on the prep wall, also shooting out the bottom part to create a safer way to peek the prep window. And last but not least, on Chalet, one of my favorite spots where I've caught in countless amounts of one-taps is the following one. Open up this wine cellar wall just above head height. Let the Selma open the wall completely and walk back into the big car garage. Then hop onto this car and aim either towards pillar or connector or small box, whichever term you call it. This angle works so well because most Ace players play with a 2.0 scope. Most defenders either have a 1x scope or maybe even a 1.5 scope. This will always give you the advantage because you'll be able to see the enemy much better than they're able to see you. Good crosshair placements here will lead to easy one-taps. So these are my favorite Ace tricks, and with that, we'll conclude the full guide to the Operator Ace. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you like the content, and be sure to leave a like. Let me know your own favorite trick with any of the Hardbreachers in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.